Your screen.
Oops. Good morning. This is Marketing Moms, and we are making marketing easy for you. That's our goal. I'm Ann Brennan, and this is Anastassia Van Greshapie. And we're going to help you today. We're hoping to give you something you can walk away with and say, hey, I know what to do for my business. So that's our goal. How are you, Anastassia?
Really well. Yeah.
Good. So we missed you last week. I don't know if you watched it, but I sped through like super crazy fast.
Yeah.
But
we don't
interestingly,
cancel, so it was kind of like, do we just go ahead and do it or cancel? So I think it was good. You did a good job. And hey, it reached at least one person that we know that gave us a call and signed.
You got a new client. Yeah. So that's really nice that when that happens. And that doesn't always happen. You know, people will say to me, hey, can you guarantee I'm going to get clients for doing this? Can you guarantee that? We can't guarantee anything. It just doesn't, you just don't know with social media. You don't know with digital marketing what's going to work, what's not. You don't even know really who you're going to reach until you do it. You do a lot of testing. So that's what a lot of what we do is, right?
Yeah. And the great thing is the goal of this podcast is really to help other people, is to help small businesses that can't really afford to do what we do, to hire us, to do that, get it done. And he was just like, you know what? Because he came in 2 years ago and met with us, and he was like, I haven't done any of the stuff that you guys said that I needed to do. So let's go. So
yeah, and that was really nice. That's exactly what happens a lot of times. As a matter of fact, we have stopped consulting there. I will do it. I don't like to do it. But one of the reasons we stopped doing it was because I would tell people what to do. They wouldn't do it, and then they wouldn't get anything out of it. And so once I realized that, and same thing for strategy, I will not sit down with you and create an entire strategy for you that you can take and do something with. Why? I mean, it's not because I'm mean. It's because you're not going to do anything with it. So if you're not, don't pay for it. It makes no sense to me. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I know there are a lot of companies that do that.
I mean, we see it every day, right? It was actually last week, I was speaking with with Whitney about a client who was really like gung-ho and like sending us a lot of things when they first started with us, and things have dropped off and we haven't received a whole lot of pictures and updates from them. And it just goes back to everything that we talk about with, people will do it consistently for a certain amount of time, usually around 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then it drops off. So, and it's not because they don't see value in it, or
because they don't care.
Or because they don't care, or because they're not trying to grow their business. That's not the reason. The reason is because they get too busy in their business. And so it's totally understandable. But
actually, it's a good lesson for us when you think about it. We talked about this last week. I called Anastassia early one morning, left her a message because that's what I do. She doesn't get up early, so I leave her messages early. But I called her and said, hey, what are we paying our CPA? And what do we get for that? And are we using everything that we get? Because I want to go to this next package that gives me some more benefits, but I don't want to do that if we're not using what we already have.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why people don't get things done, because they're not using what they have. Right. So we give them a strategy, they take it away, it sits in a drawer, and it's like, what did your teachers used to say about osmosis? You're not going to learn through osmosis. Your marketing's not going to happen just because you got a strategy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And it's a good thing to have, but you have to follow through. Like, just look at everything that we talk about every week. We're not telling you to tell the air and like put it out in there in the universe because maybe it'll manifest. No, we're giving you the tools to do something, and
right. Exactly.
If you are like, every week I'm going to listen to the podcast and then I'm going to set 30 minutes aside and do what they tell me to do, you're going to see success from each one of the things that we're telling you to do.
Absolutely. But when you're trying to run a business, it's hard. I mean, it is. It's hard to do everything. I don't do my own bookkeeping. There's a lot of things I don't do. I don't even do my own blogs. I don't write my own blogs. I have somebody do it for me. Dylan writes for me. And I just, I love my blogs. So that's a really
You
big
do go
part.
through them
So
and make sure they're correct, but
and I change some of the way it's written sometimes, or maybe I add something that I think needs to be added. But if I had to do it on my own, when I would say to you every week, I'm going to write one this week, I never did it. And you have to do it every week. And so hiring somebody to do it for me made a world of difference.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Outsourcing is a great thing. Like you need to know your strengths and not necessarily your weaknesses. It could just be that you're not interested because you are a great writer and you really enjoy doing it. For you, it was time. It just didn't have the time to sit down and get your brain into that headspace. But there are things that could we do our bookkeeping? Most likely we could do it. Do we want to? No. Are we interested in it? No. That was not my favorite.
Muted myself, sorry. And I don't have, so yeah, maybe I could, but the truth is I'd have to learn it first, right? That's like your website. You could build your website, but you have to learn how to do it first. And I am a huge fan of learning, but I like learning things that I know I'm going to use over and over and over again. And doing your website, you're going to build your website once. It's not like you're going to build a bunch of websites, right? So hire somebody to do that. Think about it that way. What are the things that somebody else could do for you because they know it better? They have time to keep up with it. They know how to do it. So we're going off on a tangent. That was not at all what we were going to talk about today, but I think it's important. So that's how our office runs, right? We are all over the place.
Always over a tangent. But the thing is, good things come out of it. It's our little ball juggling that I talk about all the time. We juggle balls and then we catch one and be like, oh, okay, here we go.
Exactly. All right. So now that we've caught up a little bit, let's go ahead and talk about why we're here today. Reputation management is what we're going to talk about. And I was thinking about it when we first started doing reputation management, we called it review management. And I love the word reputation management so much more because that's what you're managing, right? You're managing your reputation in the market and it matters.
Definitely.
Right? So, and when we first started, we used to charge people we used to charge people separate. So we do social media, then we had a package for reputation management, and then we had our package for newsletters, and we built from that. And then we finally were like, no, we want reputation management to go hand in hand with social media because your reputation matters so much. And so we put it in together. So let's talk a little bit about why you should care. Anastassia, do you remember the doctor that we were talking to? We had sent a proposal and we were talking to him about social media, and he said, I don't care what people say about me. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And it's, for us, it was shocking because yes, I send my kids to school and I say, it doesn't matter what people think about you. When you're running a business, it matters. It matters a lot what people think about you, and you should be paying attention. So
it goes hand in hand with what we were talking about earlier in previous episodes about you don't have a personal page because that's part of your reputation, right? So when we're talking about reputation management, we're definitely talking more about the reviews right here, but it all it all goes together.
It matters. And here's the thing. A lot of people think of reviews as only what they see on their Google page or what they see as far as reviews that come through Facebook or Yelp or things like that. But the truth is you need to be paying attention to what people are. As a matter of fact, I am going to say it. I did it this morning. I usually don't, but I did do this morning. I put something on Twitter. You can go follow me on Twitter and see what I said. But I'm just going to tell you, Whole Foods, they send, I send something over. I say, I want these things delivered to my house. And each week I've thought, maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe I'm putting this order in wrong. But I order a great big bag, 32 ounces of broccoli. And each week they've given me these little bags of broccoli, and not 2 or 3 of them to make up to 32 ounces, They just give me a little one. And I'm like, that's not a substitution. That is not equal. That is not a good substitution. So this morning I finally had enough because I ordered a case of water because Zane, takes water to school and, just different reasons that I wanted a case of water. So I ordered a case of water and they didn't have the water I asked for. Doesn't matter. They could have substituted, and they did with 6 bottles of water, 6 little bottles of water. I'm like, that is not an equal substitution. So I put that on Twitter, and hopefully they're going to see that. And then they will manage their reputation and say, you're right. Let us look into that and fix that problem, because it keeps happening, which is why I put it out there, because I've told them through their little customer service portal and not getting any satisfaction. So thought maybe if I put it this way, it'll become a policy. Then they'll say 6 does not equal 24.
No. Yeah.
So pay attention to what people are saying about you on social media, in public, and in different, where else might they say things that I'm missing here? On their podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We do like to stir the pot a little bit over here. Yeah, I mean, you do need to be paying attention to what people are saying about you, for sure.
Yeah.
And I always talk about anything negative as being an opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Okay? And
Yeah.
so,
Which leads us into always answer them, right?
answer them. Yes, answer all reviews.
Yeah. So when you answer a negative one, what's the best way, do you think, to answer that?
It depends on what it is, right? Like we've had some clients where it's just been 1 star and nothing.
Right.
And it's like, for something like that, if we're talking about like our restaurants, or actually really anybody, you could say, we appreciate you taking the time to leave a review. However, we would really like to know why you only gave us 1, so that we can take steps to make improvements or thank you for your feedback, but it would be helpful if we knew why you only gave us 1.
Well, and I like what you just said. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your feedback is huge, because if you start that review, if they've left you a review and said how much they hated your restaurant, and you say, thank you so much for your review, your feedback is invaluable to us, that goes a long way. And it really does help. You should also thank people who are leaving a review. Thank them for their business, and thank them if for a 5-star review. Sometimes I'll say, thank you for the 4-star review. I hope you'll come back in so we can earn that 5th star, right? And the reason we do this is because we're not necessarily responding to the person who left the review.
You're almost never responding to the person that left the review, right? I mean, I'm always telling people, because we have clients that take these negative reviews. They might get a 3-star and they take it very personally, and they're like, I don't know what to do. And it's like, look, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, if they've given you a 1-star, they're not coming back, and they don't care what you're going to say to them. But the person behind them that's looking at the reviews, because everybody, what do they say now? 80% of people trust online reviews as much as they trust a recommendation from a friend.
Right.
Really, online reviews are the new word of mouth.
Exactly.
It's just, you don't necessarily know the person who's telling you. So, I mean, we go into a different town, we'll look at reviews if we're looking for a different food. I mean, my husband got burnt. We went to Nebraska and we were looking for a Mexican restaurant, and we were driving through some little town, and he was like, well, this is the one that has the best reviews. And we were like, okay, let's go. Bad idea. and my kids give him grief all the time. But what else is he going to go on? You have nothing else to go on. So, so when you're responding to that person that's reading the review. So you're responding to us driving through Nebraska. This guy's got the best tacos in town. And you know what? Maybe they were the best tacos in town. So, it could have been that they were actually correct. But, so I think that's who you're responding to. You're always responding to who it is. Now, if you get this really angry review from somebody who is just, I mean, we've had some reviews that are like essays, they're just like, they did this and they did this and they did this and they did this. Now, if there is a rebuttal to where you can be like, we're sorry. It's always, you apologize to them, you thank them for their time. But it's your opportunity to get your side of the story out there without being defensive. You
Exactly.
can't be defensive. You have to just lay it out, and there are going to be times. We had a client who they gave 2 options to a client. They said, look, I don't think this is going to work, but
it's the cheaper option.
It's the cheaper option. We think you should go with the more expensive option. The wife wanted the more expensive option. The husband wanted the cheaper option. They went with the cheaper option, even though he strongly suggested against it because he said, I really don't think this is going to work. And then he left a horrible review. Now, he called, he's like, I don't know how to handle this because, he's like, we only did exactly what he wanted us to do. So right. It's difficult.
And that's exactly what we put. And we said, we're so sorry. That is exactly why we suggested the other option. And in your contract that we sent to you, it had 2 options. We strongly suggested the second option that was much more expensive. It's never fun when it doesn't work out. We're so sorry that the first one, we were rooting for you, right? We're trying to make it show we were rooting for you. We hoped that would work out. We were pretty sure it wouldn't, but if you wanted to try it, we were willing to give it a try. So I think you do have to sometimes put that out there. And then sometimes I was thinking about it. Sometimes you can respond with a thank you for your review because people will know. And my favorite example of that is I have been coming to this restaurant for 25 years, every single Friday night, and it has always been 100% awesome. I've loved this place. And tonight I came in and it was horrible. And a 1-star review. And so I will say, thank you for your 20 years of loyalty. I really appreciate that. And then leave it at that, because really, everybody else is going to see that and say, really, you couldn't take the time to leave a good review, but the one time things went wrong, you're going to leave a bad review, and they'll see that. So don't beat yourself up about it. But I will say, I think a lot of times people hire us just so they don't have to look at that. And they only get them when we find that it's egregious, when we're like, hey, you have a problem.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which actually, let's talk about that a minute. When you are, and I didn't put that as one of my banners, but let's talk about that. If you pay attention to your reviews, you can make your business better. You can create a better customer service experience overall. We had a client, actually, we ended up letting this client go because we talked to them about their reviews over and over and over again. And we were like, look, you're getting a lot of business from your social media, but you're doing such a bad job that your reputation is horrible. And it's really based on your reviews, one person. And we've told you this. It's this one person who is over-promising every single time, and they leave. What would happen, it was something they would install in a house, and they would say, oh, yes, you'll definitely have that by Thanksgiving. And so people were planning it. Or, oh, yes, you'll definitely have this by the time the baby comes. And there's no way. With what they were making, it was custom. It was something that was going to take a long time. And he could have said, this is custom. You're asking for something that's custom fit for you. And so, yeah, it's going to take a little longer, but it's going to be worth it. But he never said that. And the company, which is who we ended up letting go as a client, they were more interested in getting money on the front end too. So they didn't care that the customers were being overpromised. And for us, we felt very bad about that. We were like, this is not a good thing to be a part of, because we're not helping we're not helping them.
No. And there's no way to help them, right? There's no way to, if people are going to be like that. I mean,
right.
We've got some ethical issues too, when we know that people are being lied to and we're helping them.
Right. And if you're helping, they're like, helping them. Exactly. But on your end, they could have taken that. They could have sat the guy down. 2 things. They could have sat the guy down and said, hey, don't overpromise. This is how you still sell and you still make as much money, but without overpromising. And this is why that's important, right? They could have done that. Or they could have honestly looked at themselves and said, are we paying our commissions too soon? Should the commissions be paid after delivery,
Mm,
right? Because,
yeah.
so there's any number of things you can do to make your business better by looking at your reviews. One time we had the blonde lady who worked at a Mexican restaurant.
That's right.
Remember?
That was exactly the one that I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't let her go. What they did was train her.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, hey, thank you so much for your feedback. We've been able to train her and she's gotten much better at this. Would love you come in, give her another shot and, see how it goes. And she did. She got better. People even came back and changed their reviews. So it matters. So it
Definitely
does.
does. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you are hearing reviews. Okay, there are going to be some malicious people out there who are just nasty, but reviews are a way to give you kudos, to give you feedback, whether or not you want to hear it. Because we all think that our businesses are great and we have nothing to improve on. But news is, everybody has improvement. Everybody can improve all the time.
Right.
So you can use it for that. Use it. And what I love is when somebody refers to a specific employee by name in the review. Because that's great. Another one of our restaurants, somebody gave kudos to the bartender, and so I send that along to the owner. I'm like, hey, here you go. Like, they really like this person. She deserves to know that, like, you can use it as an opportunity to train, but then you can use it as an opportunity to recognize your employee.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
business, because you never know where the good idea is going to come from, where that improvement's going to come from. It could come from my 9-year-old daughter, it could come from from somebody who we're no longer working with. It could be from anywhere. You need to be open and just listen. You don't have to agree with everything, but just pay attention.
Absolutely.
Or hire people to pay attention for you.
Yes, or hire people to pay attention for you. Also, repurposing your reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something that people leave out there. The truth is, yes, people go to Google to see how you're doing. But the truth is, when you post, we create graphics using some of the reviews, and when we post those, people will see them and they'll say, my friend told me about this restaurant. Well, the friend didn't. They saw it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. But they saw it on Facebook. So repurpose it. Take a review that you got and put it out there and say, hey, look at this great review we got. There's a lot of different ways to do that. You can put it in a video. You can put it you could just copy it into the text. There's any number of ways you can do it, but start sharing those. It makes a big difference. It really does.
It does. It gives you some content that you didn't create. It's somebody else's words.
Exactly.
So you're not tooting your own horn. They're tooting it for you. You're just sharing the way that where more people will see it.
And I want to say, don't be tempted to create your own. You should have reviews out there. If you're creating your own, you're putting them up there and you have no reviews, that's a problem. Yes. People will find it out. So don't create your own. Don't create your own reviews. All right. But you can solicit reviews. And so I have a suggestion. Oh, and I didn't put it up here. Creating a process. So I want you to create a process for reviews. And what this might look like, and what I love, is when somebody, now restaurants are easy. They could have a little thing on the table, one of the little tent things that has a QR code. They, use the QR code, go to the Google, and then leave a review. Right here, leave us a review. It can say it. That's easy. But one of my favorites is when we had a PT company and physical therapy, and at the end of every visit, they would send an email and it would say, thank you so much for coming in today. Here are your exercises for the week. And by the way, if you thought we did a great job, here's the link for our reviews. Please leave us a review. Better yet, if you think we gave you 5-star service, leave us a review here. If you didn't, please respond to this email, because I want to hear about it personally, because people just want to be heard, right? They want to be heard.
They do. And if you're giving them an opportunity, and any bad feeling, if they've left your business or left an encounter with you not feeling great, it's not been good, and then you send them this and it's like, oh, you give them an opportunity to air their grievances, and then it's done.
Right.
They can let go of it, and if you respond in a way that makes them happy, that makes them whole, or whatever it is that they're upset about, then you could end up with somebody who not only is a repeat customer or a repeat client, but they could become evangelists for you, because they're like, you know what,
Exactly.
I had an issue. Not only did they resolve it, but they went that extra mile or whatever. People, if they feel
Absolutely.
like they're heard, then they are more likely to come back and to say good things about you.
Absolutely. And I think there is a bad way, just so you know, there is a bad way to solicit reviews, and that is to blanket, right? We had somebody who we talked to, they were not our client, they were somebody else. And he said, "Oh, I just sent out 2,500 to people who I've done business with over the years, 2,500 emails, and said, leave me a review. And then I got a bunch of negative ones back." Well, yeah, because what you said was leave me a review, and people who were unhappy did. The
Mhm.
If they'd worded it differently, if they'd said, "Hey, first of all, kind of pick and choose. If you know somebody's unhappy, don't send them something saying, 'Hey, leave me a review.' That's stupid." But if you have somebody who has said to you two things, pick and choose. Somebody said, "Oh my God, I love you." This happens with us. It actually just happened. Force Security messaged us and said, "Oh my God, you've done such a great job. We love what you're doing for us." And I said, "Hey, Ken, can you leave me a review?" And he did. And it's a beautiful review. So ask directly when somebody tells you that. But also, when you send something else asking, make sure you always say it exactly this way. "If we gave you 5-star service, please click here to leave a review. If we did not give you the service you deserved, our owner wants to hear from you. And click here to email the owner." It will make a huge difference to your reviews.
Definitely. And also, don't send them all out on one day, because
Yes.
then when people are looking at your reviews, it's going to be very suspicious that all of the reviews came in 16 weeks ago.
Right.
You know?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So these are things to think about. And when we say we said we don't do a consulting package. But the truth is, if you're like, "Hey, Ann, I want to pick your brain about some of these things that you've had in your podcast. I want an hour of time." We'll give you that. We would not give it to you, but we would charge you for that.
Sorry for that.
Because we are kind of busy, but
We're in
we'd sit
business.
down with you and help you. Yeah. And figure out, okay, you want to do some things. What are the things that are most important, right? If you're a home service company, reputation management is huge. If you're a restaurant, reputation management is huge. Reputation management is
It's
just huge.
huge.
It
It is.
matters.
It's just huge, regardless of where you are. I mean, anytime you see, look, how many times do you go on there and you see, and they only have 4 reviews and they've been around for 20 years? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do you only have,
Right.
or where are you lying to me? Are you lying to me that you've been around for 20 years? Or like, I don't know.
I know it makes you nervous,
It
doesn't it?
could be because we're in the business that we're in, that we're just like, hold on a second, I'm a little bit
Yeah,
more.
you should have some reviews. I'm not sure that you're really, yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
are
I
you
feel
a
the same
legit
way.
business? Like, I don't think that you're a legit business if you don't have very many reviews, but
Absolutely. All right. So your actionable item this week, it's really easy. I want you to create a template. I want you to create a template for reviews, saying exactly what I just said.
Mhm.
And I want you to do something with this. I want you to send it. If you have employees, I want you to send that template to each of your employees, so that when they're out, if they're out in the field, that they will then send it. Or I want you to create a process. Whatever you do, I want to make sure you have a process in place to get new reviews. And I want you to talk to your employees about this. Talk to them about, think about hairstylists, right? You got 15 hairstylists in a salon. You want them all to be doing the same thing to solicit reviews. You don't want each one doing something different. You don't want them sending people different places. You need to be able to manage where they're sending them. Hey, this week we really need reviews on Google. So when you send them out, make sure they're going to Google. Hey, this week really matters that it goes to Yelp. Or this week I really want people to leave recommendations on Facebook. You need to create the process. I want you to create the template, and I want you to create the process for how you're going to get more reviews. And then I want you to come back and tell us what you did and how it worked.
And when you're creating a template, most likely, like in Gmail, that's where we live. Is there's a little area where you save the template. So you don't have to have it saved in like a Word document somewhere else and then you copy and paste it. Your email, I guarantee you, your email, if it's worth anything, has a little area where you can have your template saved. All you have to do is click on it. It autofills. You just have to put in the the email address and maybe a little personal note to the person that you're writing to. So it's
Absolutely.
very, very easy. I use templates all the time.
Yeah, it makes it because, and actually that should be a whole other thing. We should talk about templates and doing things automated, creating an automation for things. But this template in particular, I want you to do that. I think is really, really important, and definitely create a process. We're all about processes here. So, all right. I want to remind you, Mondays, we do our podcast, and it's the day our blog comes out every Monday. So our blog this week is talking about getting engagement on Facebook. And it is an interesting article. I want you to go look at it. But I also was talking to Anastassia because we've noticed that engagement has gone down pretty much across the board. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's gone down for almost all of our clients across the board. And not just our clients, we've noticed it in other people as well. So we don't know what's happening. We don't know why that's happening. But what we have noticed is that post clicks have gone up, which means people are clicking on the post to actually look at it bigger. So that's good. What can you do to draw people to click more on a post, right? If you go to the Getting Engagement on Facebook post, you'll see that's some tips on doing exactly that. But at the same time, you can apply most of those things on how to get people to click through to your posts.
Why the post clicks don't count as engagement, I'm very confused by. But who knows? Somebody's messing around with something.
Exactly. All right. I want to remind everybody, you see the subscribe to on YouTube across the bottom. You can also subscribe wherever you listen to this. So if you're listening on Apple Music, I guess that's what it is now, or Apple Podcasts, or you're listening on Google Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening, please, please, please go ahead and subscribe. And
there we go. And you're going to say it.
I'll say it.
Review. Leave us a review. And
leave us a review.
Whitney was looking at the stats and said that we've been listened to in 25 countries. What?
It's really good, right?
I told my kids, I'm like, and 6 of those people are in New South Wales and Australia, and I don't know if they're my family. So if it is a family member, let me know that you're listening. But I don't think it is, because I feel like they would have either said, hey, you did a really good job, or most likely, Aussies are kind of, we're more likely to pull the piss out of you. Like, you're more likely to make fun of somebody than you are to give them a kudos. Like, that's the Aussie way of like, hey, you did a great job. Man, that was awful. Right. So I have not heard either way from my family. So I feel like it's not my family, because somebody would have said either it was terrible and they're never going to listen again, or I did a good job. So yes. So
if you're listening, leave us a comment somewhere. Even, I mean, we want to review, but also leave us a comment somewhere. Let us know you're listening. Let us know what you think.
We'd love to know where you are.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. We hope you are doing well. We are going to have a great week. Actually, I was going to mention it. This is the top of the hour, but I have the new puppy. We are going to start doggy training in the office because she comes to the office with us sometimes, and she's not as good as she should be in the office. She wants attention the entire time.
Yes. Let me tell you, we could have an entire separate podcast about Luna in the office.
Yes, but she's so cute.
She is. It's her saving grace. I say that about my 3rd child, who made my life very difficult at first. And still today, when she's my most trying. And I'm like, you're lucky you're cute, because, it's your saving grace for sure.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Anastassia, stick around. We'll see everybody else next week.